صلی علی کریمنا صلی علی محمد صلی علی نبینا صلی علی محمد صلی علی نبینا صلی علی.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. गुज़श्ता दिनों
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Previously, in the previous days, I've been on the tour of the European tour, and where I've covered Holland and France, and we had annual conventions for these countries. Besides these conventions, we had the inauguration of several mosques in these countries. And also we had some different meetings with other dignitaries where I traveled. And also I traveled to the UNESCO complex and I delivered a lecture there, and the organization, they gave me the permission. They invited me and I delivered a lecture in UNESCO. And in that lecture which I delivered, I was invited to give the understanding of true Islam and also the role of Muslims as far as education and civilization is concerned. UNESCO is part of, is as one of the organizations of the United Nations, which is also working for the advancement of culture and science. And of course, they're addressing a free press, and also they cover inheritance and also other laws, other social laws. Of course, in light of this, I had to deliver a lecture in light of the Islamic teaching and Islamic guidance in relation to all these issues. And also I had to mention the role Islam played in the early days. I mentioned all of this in that lecture. And also I went to Berlin in Germany. This is where the German parliament is, and I met the intelligentsia there, and I was able to deliver the message of Islam, and also I was able to discuss the issue which is current in the European minds, and especially in Germany and in other European countries, that Islam is not compatible with the European culture. And because of this, Islam should not come to Europe or cannot be allowed to spread in Europe. And this is also the notion that Islam is a danger for Europe and European civilization and European culture. In light of all these notions, I had to explain myself and explain the Islamic view to all this intelligentsia, where we had all the scientists, the thinking tank for the country. And of course, after the discourse which we had, they all appreciated my lecture and my discussion I held with them. Likewise, I also traveled in other European countries where I delivered the message of true Islam. And God gave me the ability to convey his message, Alhamdulillah. And I've been able to witness for myself the true blessings and grace of Allah wherever I traveled. Briefly, I will be mentioning a few impressions of those who attended the functions where I traveled. And from their impressions and from their comments, you can understand that this was a way for them to understand the true Islam and also to remove their reservations against Islam. In Holland, on the second day of the annual convention, there were some Dutch delegates who came to attend it, and I had the opportunity to address these delegates. Over there were about over 150 Dutch citizens who came to attend our convention. And this was in Nunspeet, and this is where we have our center. And the counselor there, while he was giving his comments and passing his comments and his impressions, he said that before I never even wanted to come here. But with time, we developed a good relationship with this community. And now, since you have come, I have had to come and welcome you in our city as the mayor. And he said that I've heard before, and I've heard about your community before, I've heard about Ahmadiyya before, and it was incumbent upon me to come and listen from you directly again. And I'm very much impressed from what I've seen here and what I've heard from you, because this also further develops our relationship from the stage we had before. And of course, the community here, it is a very productive community, and you play a very positive role in the community, and you have helped in developing this city. And Dr. Ver, another guest, and also there was Aman Meter Sahib, Mr. Aman Meter. Before their coming to the convention, they said we had our reservations. We thought these Muslims are congregating and we didn't know what might happen. We never expected to hear a message of peace coming from here. And the best thing which I took from you was that the Pope generally discusses peace. But your Khalifa has openly addressed the powerful nations regarding peace and advising them what they should be doing. And also there was a Dutch couple which attended and giving their comments after attending the convention and listening to my lectures. He said that the convention was very unique. The people were very well behaved. It was so peaceful, as if we are in paradise. And they said we were very much impressed, and the translation, the live simultaneous translation the translator was eloquent enough and were able to follow up and follow the discussion. And I advise all the translators, all the simultaneous translators, especially those I know you translate my lectures. When you are holding these functions, you should endeavor to convey my message clearly. And another friend who came, he said she was a lady. She said I was teaching Dutch language, and my first encounter with a Pakistani friend who used to come to learn music, and we had a strong relationship. And because I meet the children and we are close to each other, I had promised to come here. And it is through the children that I got to learn about this community. And she said that I have come here and it feels nice here. And because after seeing and listening to your Khalifa, who is giving a message of peace, though I'm a Christian, I'm much impressed with the message which is being delivered. Because his lecture and his address is not only to your community members, but it is to the entire world. And his engagement with the community members and the non-community members is all the same. It is very impressive. And another guest said that, of course, nowadays we have different impressions about Islam. We have different and negative thinkings about Islam. But seeing what has taken place here, all our notions we had before, they were wrong ones. And furthermore, discussing this, he said that your Khalifa has stressed about the peace which must be established in the world. And this should be a collective effort, and we should work together in order to achieve this. And in Ajmer city, in Netherlands, we had an inaugural ceremony for the mosque there. And on that occasion, the chairman of the church had come to attend our function. And he gave his comments, and he said, your message is a message of peace, and your Khalifa has delivered a very impressive speech. Of course, we used to live in peace as Christians and Catholics, but now I hope and believe that we shall be able to live together in peace with the Ahmadi Muslims alongside each other. And of course, this was the impression of the guests, and it gives me the wider picture of how our community members live in that community. There was also another German member who came to attend, and his comments were that your program was very impressive. I liked your program, and especially the speech of your Khalifa, your leader, which I heard, and what I took home from that message was that if we want to establish peace in the world, if really we want to establish peace, this is the speech we must listen to and follow the guidelines given by the Khalifa. And I also wish, and I wished, I could record the recitation of the Holy Quran, which was recited in the beginning, because I was so much impressed. I enjoyed the sounds and also the meaning of the Holy Quran. And there was also another lady who gave her comments, and she said the program was a very good program, and I've had and listened to your Khalifa, and all the arrangements were perfect. They were excellent arrangements here. And though this is my first time to come here, but I promise to come here again and again and again and again, and I also advance my relationship with the wider community. There was also another local community member who came, and he said, I'm coming here to attend this program for the first time. And my friend had told me, it's better for you not to go because you never know what the Muslims might do. But I thank all the Muslim friends who invited us because they well looked after us. And another local member, Evelyn is the lady, and she said that it is very unfortunate that the true picture of Islam is not depicted, is not shown to the entire world. She said, I've seen your mosque for the first time. I'm visiting the mosque for the first time. But finding peace here, I promise to come here again and again, because what I received here was nothing but peace. Of course, I started my tour with France, and there was different impressions from France. Because there was a convention there, and of course there were also other non-community members who came, and also I had a sitting with the non-community members, and we had a very beautiful conversation with them. Having given other impressions from other countries, I will also give one impression from an anthropologist from this country, from France. She said that when your Khalifa said that we strongly condemn the attacks that happened in Paris, I've never heard such condemnation from any Muslim leader before. And said that the picture which is being painted by your Khalifa, the Muslims can easily integrate in Europe. And those who say that there is no place for Islam in Europe, and Islam, Muslims and Christianity cannot live together, they should have listened to the speech of your Khalifa to establish, and they would know that this is possible. And Murtaza Sahib also said, giving comments, he said, today was my first time to meet your Khalifa, to meet your spiritual head. But today, your leader, the Khalifa, has given the answer to all the questions we had before. It seems people don't know exactly what your community represents. I wish they could listen to your lecture and then understand that the true teaching of Islam can only be truly understood by the Imam of the age, by following the teaching of the Imam of the age. Of course, unless until you understand the true teaching of Islam, and the only way to understand the true teaching, the present teaching as taught by the Holy Prophet, is by joining the Imam of the age and understand the true Islam. Of course, your leader has given us examples from the life of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the founder of Islam, and he has given living examples of the leader, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his earlier followers. And this clearly shows that Islam is a peaceful religion. It never spread by the power of the sword. And also Sultan Sahib, another member, said that today, now I understand that the members of this community are true Muslims, and anyone who thinks that these are not true Muslims. And I can say that what the Maulvis, what the sheikhs have been teaching me right from childhood, I can say clearly, I pronounce it clearly today, that all that was wrong. People used to fear Islam. People never knew who Muslims are. People never knew how to defend Islam. But after listening to the lecture of your Khalifa, to the speech and the guidance given by your Khalifa, he has not only defended Islam, but he has guided us how to defend Islam and how to present the true picture of Islam. Like I said before, it can only be understood, and you can only reach this stage by following the true teaching of the Imam of the age. Jacob Sahib, Mr. Jacob Sahib, also said that such teachings and such discourses are needed in the world today. Those who keep people away from this community, people who keep them away from Islam, they spread this fear that Islam is a religion of fundamentalism, is a deen of terrorists. But now, our thinking here in France is totally different, seeing you and how you practice. There's also another member who is also a member of the think tank in France, and he said that today is my first day of happiness after a long time, because I've listened to your leader directly, and he has said it very well. He has presented it truly well, that we are passing through a very difficult time, and all the differences, all the rifts we have in the world are not because of Islam. And what the Khalifa has said, that Islam has been hijacked by the fundamentalism, is very, very true, and I truly agree with your Khalifa. And furthermore, he said that your Khalifa, your leader, has guided us how we can protect our future generations and how we can also prepare to defend Islam in the future. And he said, this being a think tank member, and this was his comments, he said we should preserve the words of our leader. I've also mentioned about UNESCO, where I delivered a lecture. On that function, there were 91 members who came. There were Mali's ambassador, the Foreign Minister of France, the religious affairs member from France, as well. And there were also some envoys from different chambers and from different departments. There was also councillors, mayors, and people from all different circles of life and from different governments who came to attend this function. Umar Qaeda, a Mali UNESCO ambassador, while giving his comments, he said that the Imam of the Jamaat is spreading the message of peace. And I congratulate you for such lectures and for such vision. And this is the true platform. This is the right platform to give this beautiful message of peace to the entire world. And furthermore, he said how they benefited from my lecture and how it can help in order to establish peace, how to establish peace in the world. And he said this is what the world Muslim need. We need unity, and the unity which has been presented, the vision of that unity as presented by the Khalifa, is what the Muslim world requires now. And Mr. Brunton, a NATO member who was there as well, giving his comments, he said that I'm so happy, I'm very fortunate to have attended this community. And he said this is a historical conference where we can propagate and show the world how we can live together in peace. And I wish the entire world should listen to this lecture delivered by your leader. And he said, your leader is giving us the true message of Islam. He is painting the true picture of Islam, which is being painted and which is being depicted by other Muslim fundamentalists. And furthermore, he said, what we need, what is required is to propagate such beautiful messages, and I am ready also to carry this forward. And he also further said that this should be done at the government level and also at the individual level, and also show this by our character. And there was also another president, Mr. Diallo, who attended this function. And he said, I had heard about the Ahmadis before, but the message of Islam, which I'm listening from your leader today, it is such a very beautiful message, which has created an urge in my heart that I am not only praying for the success of Islam, but I'm praying that your message spreads all over the world. These are comments by a non-Muslim. And he prays that I hope and pray that Islam, which is being presented by your Khalifa, should be the Islam which should be spread all over the country, whereby the peace should spread all over the world as he envisioned the true world of peace which we can live in all together. There's also another guest who came to attend, and he said that all the propaganda we used to hear on television about Ahmadiyya, having attended this function, it is a totally different representation of Islam. Today, I'm hearing about the true understanding of the founder of Islam, the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And today is the first time I've had to understand the true role which was played by the early Muslims and what Islam plays in the world today. There was also the Islamic Federation member, and he said that the lecture which was delivered by your head is so important for even the historians, for all the Muslims, for all other organizations. We should listen to this lecture and work out how to establish peace in the entire world. And there was also a city council mayor who attended the meeting, and he said that I am in charge of different ethnicities on the council. But what I've had in the lecture today, especially where Islam represents a common platform for both men and women in all fields, in education and in terms of governance, and also what your leader has mentioned about different projects in Africa and all the third world countries in terms of offering free education, building schools. We rarely mention or hear about this. All we hear is about Islamophobia everywhere. And it is now we hear about positive words about Islam. And I wished to come here and see for myself what your community is. And I came to meet you as the spiritual head and also to increase my understanding about your community and about you in particular as the leader. And he said, one other guest said, that your leader's lecture was based on truth, and he has openly presented the true truth about Islam. And Islam has addressed the issue of slavery. And he has also told us the true background of your community, and we now truly understand what your community stands for. And another lady who came to attend gave her comments, and he said that, of course, I never knew what the contribution of Muslims was to the modern day advancement in terms of science and education and in governance. Today, I have understood how the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam established a peaceful community, and that is the model which Muslims today must follow. That is the vision of your Khalifa, and I was much impressed by that. Another guest said the message delivered by your Khalifa is not only historical, but this is a speech which must be heard by every human living on the planet Earth today. It is after listening to him, then I had an insight on how knowledgeable your leader is. There was also another city on the border of Germany and France, and in that function there were guests over 90. There were 50 mayors from different cities. There were other delegates from representing different religions. There were other people from all other walks of life who had come to attend this function. And of course, all the surrounding cities and the people living nearby, they also came to attend and to see what was going on because they had reservations about Islam. And after attending that function, they went away with a different impression, the true impression about Islam. There was another lady who said that I'm very happy that you have given the message of reconciliation, message of peace, and how we should work together. And your members are active members who demonstrate by action, and their motto is love for all, hatred for none. And this has been depicted by sitting in your community, and I've seen love all around. And I hope when I come in the future, I'll also be free to come and discuss with you freely. And this is very important for our community, to sit together and discuss our issues together freely and in peace. Your leader, your Khalifa, has addressed about patience, about forbearance. These are the issues which we must understand, that what we learn from the media about Islam is quite different from what really Islam teaches. And also in the Council of Berlin, the deputy president from one of the departments there had come also to attend this function. He said that we have many people from Tibet, and we have so many deep many people who have learnt about Buddhism, because there are so many Buddhists living around where I am. But today, listening to a lecture from Muslims, I was much impressed by your words, your presentation, because you have presented the pristine purity of Islam. You have painted the true picture of Islam. Your theory, your words, your envision is unique and peculiar. And today, I've learned the true way and the true pathway to peace. And also on another function where we had an inaugural ceremony for another mosque in Europe, there was Mr. Yuba Sahib, who had come to attend here. It was a couple, and another couple, which came. And they also gave their comments, and they said, and I think these probably were from the wife, that before accepting the invitation, we had searched on the internet about your community. And we had learned about your activities, about your activities around the world. And now we have truly understand from listening to you how we should work together and how Islam has presented avenues how we can work together. And now let me emphasize this, that many people now, they resort to internet and they depend on the knowledge which they gain from the internet. And another person came in and said that I cannot express myself well because I never knew about your community before. I met people in the street and they had invited me to come here. I had no knowledge from the internet and I hadn't heard about you, and I decided to come and listen to you directly. But now I understand that this branch of Islam, this is the true picture of Islam. This is the true Islam which you present, which presents peace and love. And now I know that that Islam which is being presented outside is a different version of Islam. Now I understand that all our cultures, all our civilization is the same. And he also expressed himself and he said that I think the Islamic version of how we should live in terms of social structures, I think it is further ahead of Christianity. There's also another guest, Mr. Justin, who was a district council, and he is a president for this council. And he said that I had a lot of fears before coming. And when I heard that a mosque was to be constructed here, I had my reservations. But after listening to your slogan, which is love for all, hatred for none, this is such a slogan to which each and every member of our community should respond to. In France, many people don't know much about Jamaat Ahmadiyya, about your community. But those who want to understand Islam and the true Islam, they should look to you people. They should look to your community. There's Mr. Lonker, who is a city mayor who came to our function. He said, this is my first time to come to the mosque. But if coming to the mosque means this, which I've seen, if this is the peace which someone receives when you come to the mosque, then this is the place we should all converge to. There was also another German who came. And also, I also moved on to German in Lisbon, where we had an inaugural function of a mosque there, and we had it in a very big hall because we didn't have enough area at the compound where the mosque was. And we had about 370 guests. The Lord Mayor had came to attend. He had come there. The district council members had come, and also officers from different directorates, from the police, doctors, lecturers, people from all walks of life. They also came to attend this function. The Catholic Church member said that all your views and all your presentation, I agree with each and everything you have mentioned here today. He said, I had not clearly understood the true God presented by Islam. But now today I understand is that God who created all creatures we see, and He is the one who started all the religions we have in the world today. And there is no discrimination in Islam. And I wish all leaders of the world today, especially the religious leaders, are able to deliver such lectures across the world. How good this would be. And I hope and I wish to remain in contact with this community. And I hope and pray that I will be able to keep coming here. It is, of course, their own view to think that the God for the Christians is a different God from Muslims. But in reality, it's the same God. There was also another member who attended, and he gave his comments that what you told us about what Islam teaches regarding neighbors, I've never had this sort of lecture from any leader before. I've had all this for the first time. There was also a lawyer from a law firm. And he said that, of course, I was always impressed about the community members who have been coming, visiting my chambers. But now, after listening to your lecture, now I understand your community more, and I know what to do for my community and for my city, because now I understand that your community is extending open arms to the community members to work together and to work for peace. And another guest said that I'm so much impressed by the message that all our Creator is the same Creator, and all God's creation, all human beings, we are all the same and we are all equal. She said, I'm much impressed by these words of your Khalifa. There's also another person who was working in another department for integration. And he said that another point which I will never forget is what your Khalifa said, that each and every community member should be a productive part and parcel of any community they live in. I wish all Muslims could have this open-mindedness, and they should have such approach. Of course, for us community members, we Ahmadis, we live together. We integrate with all the societies we live in. And this is the true teaching of Islam. This is what the Holy Prophet ﷺ taught. And it is only through integration that we can deliver our message. Integration means and should be to show the true character of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and the true teaching of Islam. And I'll advance to another guest who was a teacher in one of the universities, a lecturer, and he said that this is my first time to come here, and I was much impressed by the arrangements here, and I was much touched by This message of your Khalifa, where he said what they should work together with everyone. And all other religions are forgetting the true importance of working together and the importance of peace. Now I have questions for the other Muslims, having listened to you here. Another doctor who came said, that if this message which we listen here today is the same message which is delivered by the other community members, if we hear the same voice from the churches, if we hear the same voice from the minarets of other mosques, which we are listening from the leader of your community who has touched every argument and without any fear or favor has given clarity about Islam, how good this would be for the entire communities. He said, Islam is that avenue which leads, which is the pathway to peace. And another lady guest who came to attend our function said, giving her comments about my speech, he said that you said that Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of all universes, I've now truly understood the true meaning of Rabbul Alameen as presented by Islam, the Lord of all universes. Now I understand that God being the same God, He is the same God who looks after each and every individual regardless of what faith they hold. And he said, and furthermore said, they should believe in this one Lord and in this God who treats everyone equally. And she said, and another lady said, this is the message which should be delivered across the globe. And another lady also gave her comments saying that I'm very much happy to have attended this convention. I had my reservations before, but now listening to the lecture of your community, this has alleviated all my fears which I had before. And another guest giving the comments said that we should look after and we should observe the rights of our fellow human beings. Of course, I have heard about the different sects in Islam, but I had never heard about the Ahmadiyya sect. And Muqtari Saab, who works in police, also giving the comments, he said that Muslims, they present different pictures about Islam. They give different versions about Islam. But listening to your Khalifa today, listening to your leader, that you have different projects in Africa and in other countries, I'm so much impressed by this. There was also another function where we had about 330 guests who came for the inaugural ceremony of another mosque. And the Lord Mayor also came here, but because due to other engagements, he came and just attended briefly but left. There were also other members of parliament and other chairpersons who came to attend. And there was also another round table committee for the Muslims, and the chairman had come to attend our function. Fulda is a place where they have reservations about Islam. Not only reservations, but also there's some hatred for Muslims. This is predominantly a Christian city. Unfortunately, people are not only turning away from Islam, they are also turning away from Christianity as well. There was a member who came from the church, and others who came thinking that they will only briefly say hello and leave. They ended up sitting and listening to the entire function. There's also another gentleman who said, he said in his speech and giving his comments, he said that what is common amongst Muslims and non-Muslims, and which you should advance in all communities, is based upon truth, peace, and love. And the conduct which is required as presented by your Khalifa is what the world needs today. And he said that the introduction about Islam which we had before is inadequate. And today I've had the true comprehensive presentation about the true picture of Islam. There was also another guest who works in the local school. He was a teacher, and he said that such lectures should be that the lectures we give in schools, and we should ask, as we ask students, that what have you understood from this lecture? I wish and I request to have the video of this lecture so that I can share it with my students and also my fellow teachers and ask them what they take out of this lecture and how they understand it. And your leader, he has given the comparison between Islam and the non-Muslims. And he has also given us, he has pinpointed what the causes of dissent in communities are. It is, all these rifts are based on egoism. It is because of fascism. But whatever the Khalifa has discussed today was food for thought. And Dr. Kohler, who is a lady, she said, what impressed me much today was the open-mindedness and the open-heartedness. And this is what your Khalifa stresses. And he said that we shall have to open our hearts, and we have to alleviate and remove all the reservations people have against Islam. I've seen peace here, and I'm very fortunate to have attended this function. And in Berlin, like I've already mentioned before, there was a discourse about on the topic of Islam, about Islamic civilization and culture, and the comparison about Islamic civilization and Islamic culture vis-a-vis the Western civilization. There was also a religious director. There were 5 professors from Berlin University. There are also Mr. Scheinbach, who is the Senate member. There are also other members, the political officers from the US Embassy, from French Embassy, and other representatives from different religious organizations, and the press, they also came to attend, and also Amnesty International, they sent their representatives in this function. As Minda, who is a member of parliament, giving her comments, said, the message of peace which you presented was the ethos of Islam. Though to me this was a new topic, but it was in sync with my theories and the true teachings I hold. And your Khalifa has proved that Islam from day one, and the foundation of Islam was laid upon the foundations of peace. I hope the world begins to understand who you stand for and who you really were, who you really are. There was, having listened to the comparative study which your Khalifa has presented, the comparative relationship between religions, I'm so much impressed that this is a universal message and everyone will try and endeavor to listen to this lecture and follow the guidelines by your head. And another guest said, I've never attended a function which is hosted by Muslims. And then we have such peaceful discourses and peaceful lectures which I've never seen before. I'm so happy that if we were to understand the differences, after listening to the lecture of your leader, whereby he is threatening and is warning us about the eventual calamities that might befall because of the indifferences and which you must bridge immediately, then I hope and pray that each and everyone understands the message and spreads the same message. There was also another member of parliament, Khatam Zaklin. She said that the Imam of Jamaat Ahmadiyya has presented the position of your community, and I agree with every word of your leader. And another member said that I'm so much impressed by the role of your community which it plays in the field of education. And what I'm taking home from here is not to follow blindly, but to be the true leaders as your Khalifa urges. I will carry forward the message of your Khalifa and what I've listened here today. And another lady said, I have no attachment to any particular sect, but the pain of your Khalifa for the future generations and warning the nations of the world today, I'm so much touched. And I hope all other people, all other leaders understand the true message, the true message which your Khalifa is delivering. And another member said, I have loved your program and I've had the opportunity to listen from your leader directly, and I was much impressed to realize that all the points being put forward by your leader, by your head, are from the Holy Quran. And once I return home, I will go back again and look into the Holy Quran and study again all the points put forward by your leader. And he said, I had never heard before that Islam stresses the point of peace and establishing peace in the world. I'm very happy that the Jews are here today, the Christians are here today, all other sects from all other Muslim sects members are here today, and I hope we have something to learn from this lecture. And we have been told how Islam teaches how we can live together. And Islam teaches that we should all live together in peace, and we should respect and honor one another. And the Khalifa, the leader said that we have got abundance of God's provisions, but it is the abuse of these provisions that is causing chaos in the world today. And another guest said, passing their comments, that nowadays there is no importance being given to religion in the world today. It is felt across the board among Christians, among Islamists, but today the lecture of your leader is exemplary, and each and every Muslim should understand what the Quran teaches, and this is the only thing which can save the world today. This is so important for all community members, young or old, to understand the Holy Quran and make others understand what the Quran teaches. I urge each and every one of you to understand the Quran, be able to teach it, and I hope and pray that when you preach the message of Islam to other people, they will be able to understand and accept the message. Amen. Another guest said that I'm so happy to attend this peaceful message where we're talking about civilization, about culture, and about mutual coexistence. This message could not have been put forward better than how your Khalifa did. The verses presented by your Khalifa, they are misquoted or misinterpreted by all other religious Muslim leaders and all the critics. But if we are able to understand the true import of these verses, then we can be able to do away with all the indifferences. Also, there was another function of Ahmadiyya. It was an inaugural function of another mosque, where we had also, of course, naturally, the Speaker of the city of the Parliament came, deputy mayors, and in this function we had over 170 guests. The mayor said, and this is a lady mayor, and she said that once I return, I would defend Islam in light of the lecture of your leader. I would defend Islam in light of your Khalifa, which has presented today, because he has urged the community members to serve the community even more after having constructed this mosque here. And another guest said that today I've learned how we have to live in harmony with one another and how we should spread this harmony. And another guest said, after coming here, all my reservations about Islam have been alleviated. And this message which is being delivered by your leader is very important for the entire Muslim world. There was another president for one organization, and he said that the speech of your leader has touched all points regarding social structures, and how we should live. I may differ with you in certain issues, but what your Khalifa has presented today, it is supported by all religions. The only difference is maybe in worship, but the teaching is the same. There was also another Turkish guest, and the guest said that today I've understood the true teaching of Islam and the position of Islam and the position of women in Islam. I hope the world understands the true message of Islam and they are able to understand Islam. And I hope and pray that the entire world understands the message of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And I hope and pray they all embrace Islam and they should understand that this is the way to their salvation, and this is the only avenue to save humanity in this age. There were 2 media channels in Holland which aired our function, Nieuwspeed News. There was also on another channel where it was broadcast. The social message, normally we used to convey the message, but this time it went to millions of people. There was also another local television channel which delivered our lectures to an audience of over 160,000 viewers across France. There was also other the press media was also represented, and the print media also carried our message through different newspapers. There was a report which was presented on radio channel in France and all other media outlets. Our message was delivered across France, Germany, Berlin, and all other functions that I held everywhere. In Germany, there were 4 television channels that carried our message. There were also other radio channels which broadcasted our programs. And the Secretary for Media and Press, according to their statistics, the message in Germany alone went to over 16 million viewership in Germany. I hope, like I've been praying before, and I pray that people are able to understand the true message of Islam, and I hope the world embraces Islam. There's a funeral prayer in absentia I want to mention about, and I'll be leading it after Juma prayers. She is from Kerala. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. She was a daughter of Kaya Muallim Muhammad Sahib, and the father was a knowledgeable person who accepted Ahmadiyya. And in Kerala, they accepted the message of the Messiah of the age. And before passing away, she had joined Jamia Ahmadiyya, and she was a teacher after passing Jamia Ahmadiyya. The deceased was a very good, God-fearing person, a very sincere, who possessed a great knowledge about the Holy Quran, about Hadith, and about the books of the Prophet Messiah. Had extensive knowledge about Tamil language, and had his own personal library where he had different books. In the province of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, in all these provinces, he was a good lecturer and a good preacher. And the 4th Caliph, according to his instructions, in 1994, he was appointed with Hafiz Muzaffar Ahmad. After Dost Saab, they had a very big debate over there. By the grace of God, he was a devotee of life. And the relatives say, one of the children says that for 2 months we never went home. But when we returned, all the holidays, we spent them reading the books of the Prophet Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam. They had formed an organization called Anjuman Islam in their area. This organization was critical against the writings of the Prophet Messiah, and in different places they held different lectures. In 1998, the deceased had an opportunity to work with people of Ahl Hadith and Ahl Sunnah, and he had an opportunity to debate with other knowledgeable clerics, religious clerics in his area. There is another incident in Larkana where he was not able to offer the Tahajjud prayers. And he said, this is when the children were not able to offer the Tahajjud prayers. He said that, don't you want to be regarded among those people who stand at the Maqam Mahmud? Until his death, he remained someone who observed his prayers regularly and used to wake up for the Tahajjud prayers. In 2015, one lady with the children accepted Islam Ahmadiyya, and they came. And when they asked that what is the importance, what is the need of accepting the Khalifa of the time, and the deceased gave a long lecture about the importance of a Khalifa in Islamic leadership in relation to the previous leadership which was established by the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when she heard his explanation, eventually she accepted Islam. He was a warrior, a Muslim warrior. May Allah forgive him and elevate his status in paradise, and may his goodness continue in his progeny. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen.
Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد.
ما
वक्त चलता रहा रुख बदलता रहा आसमां के तले कितने ही मरहले आते जाते रहे पर हमारा कलम मौसमों से लड़ा और लिखता रहा हर घड़ी दम बदम और लिखता रहा हर घड़ी दम बदम अल हकम 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 उसका पैगाम है और अब आम है उसका पैगाम है और अब आम है वक्त का साज है उसकी आवाज है जो अदल जो हकम उसकी आवाज है जो अदल जो हकम अल 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 हकम
Mazaya, 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 Ramiz Mazaya, Mazaya, the reformer has come.
अमृत है तेरे बोल तो पैगाम जिंदगी अमृत है तेरे बोल तो पैगाम जिंदगी तेरे सिवा नहीं कोई आवाज वक्त की
The map of the world has evolved from one big chunk of land to huge continents. But that was for the tectonic plates, moving under natural circumstances. But the division of these continents continued at the hands of mankind. This was mostly not through natural phenomenon, but man's urge of gaining political control and then extending the boundaries of this control. History has witnessed conquests of lands by empires, through military coups, and even through peaceful means of developing nation-states. This ever-changing face of the map has always been attributed to attempts of establishing peace. Even when one tyrant ruler replaced another, the motive was always claimed to be the same: peace. But the pages of history tell us a different story. This transformation of the world map, this crumbling of nations, and the emergence of new states has brought about everything else but peace. Peace is one thing that the world has failed to achieve.
Nowadays, when the world again getting divided into blocks, extremism is escalating and the financial and economic situation is worsening. There's an urgent need to end all kinds of hatred and to lay the foundations of peace. This can only be done by respecting all kinds of sentiments of each other. If this is not done properly, honestly, and with virtue, it will escalate into uncontrollable circumstances.
Was it for wrong political decisions? Or down to erroneous geographical demarcations? Or religious conflicts? Whatever the reason, but the underlying factor has always been one: lack of leadership.
Today, we observe that the world has become a global village. Mankind has become very closely knit together. The people of all nations, religions, and cultures are found in all countries. And so this requires that the leaders of every nation should consider and respect the feelings and sentiments of all people. The leaders and their governments should strive to create laws that foster an environment and spirit of truth and justice, rather than making laws that are a means of causing distress and frustration to the people. Injustices and cruelties should be eliminated, and instead we should strive for true justice.
One may argue that every nation has a leader, and so does almost every religion. Then why is leadership, or absence of leadership, to be blamed? But the fact of the matter is that every nation may have its own leader, and every religion their own. But as the issues spill out of nations and spread to become global, the leadership too would need to be a global one. Such a leadership could only be sent from God, as man-made leaders would not be acceptable to all nations and all sections of the society. This was done by Allah the Almighty, by sending to this world a leader who was to be the Hakam and the Adl, the arbitrator of all nations.
In this age, according to our beliefs, God Almighty sent the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, Hazrat Mirza Ahmad of Qadian, as the promised Messiah and the Imam Mahdi, in complete submission to the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The promised Messiah was sent to propagate the real and true teachings of Islam and the Holy Quran. He was sent to establish a bond between man and God Almighty. He was sent to identify and recognize the rights owed by man to one another. He was sent to end all forms of religious warfare. He was sent to establish the respect, dignity, and honor of every founder and every prophet of any religion. He was sent to draw attention towards attaining the highest standards of moral values. And he was sent to establish peace, love, compassion, and brotherhood throughout the world.
Like every human being, the promised Messiah